Roar in Norway, which sounds rather loud. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. With apologies, sir. If you have exactly the same sound out of a preamplifier that you feed it with, unchanged, which is, in my opinion, the ultimate preamplifier, where nothing is changed, then what is the advantage of a preamplifier other than it amplifies the sound? If the sound becomes different when you use a preamplifier, it's the preamp that adds something and changes something, and that's probably not good. You know, this is a constant question that I get, and it's a really good one. It's very valid. So the goal of any product is to do no harm, right? It's like the promise the doctors make to us. Whatever you do, don't make it worse, right? And surely that would be the case with the preamp, and it is. However, there are a couple of things to consider. One, no product is perfect, so everything is going to change it ever so slightly just to get the record straight. But that said, let's imagine that we have the perfect preamplifier, and if you take the PMG signature preamplifier, that's about as perfect as I have in 50 years ever heard. It is just wonderful. Okay, why use it? Because as wonderful as it must be, wouldn't you be better off just taking the source and going directly into the amplifier if the amplifier had volume controls? Well, not really. And the problem that we're facing is that we're not looking at the whole picture. Because remember, this is a system. And a couple of things. One, preamplifiers do serve a purpose. They control the volume and they select the input. But let's imagine we have an all-digital system and we have a wonderful DAC, like the PMG signature DAC, okay? That actually even has an analog volume control, a preamplifier inside, that can feed directly into the power amp, and you can select various inputs. All right, so we've eliminated that problem. Well, here's the thing. Here's what you haven't eliminated. The buffer. The buffer between the source and the amplifier. For whatever reason, that buffer, that isolation makes a big difference in a high-resolution system. So we need a buffer, a way that whatever happens here on the source does not impact what's happening here on the amplifier, or vice versa. Now, I will admit, for years I was a big advocate of getting rid of the preamp because it logically was just what Roar said. But, and I've told the story 100 times, the big bet when Arnie Nudell and Bascom King were alive, that I would agree to publicly state that I was wrong if they proved it in a blind A/B, which they did, and I have been owning up to it ever since. So that isolation, that buffer, is really important. And can you get away and make a beautiful system with just a DAC feeding a power amplifier? Well, if it's the right DAC with the right kind of controls, absolutely. Is it as good as if you put a preamp? No, it just simply is not. And that's part of the reason why. All right. Great question. Thanks for asking it. Bye.